Hello everyone, welcome to Texture Myth. In this session, we are going to discuss another very important topic related to medical coding anatomy, where we will be mainly focusing on dorsal or posterior body cavity. In our last session, we talked about the overall definition of body cavity. We discussed what are the types and subtypes of it, right? Now one by one we will cover each type in detailed way. Like today we are mainly focusing on this part, which include dorsal cavity, contains cranial cavity and spinal cavity, and then later in the next session we will talk about the ventral cavity. Okay, clear? So today mainly we are focusing on dorsal and posterior cavity, that is the body type of the cavity. Okay, so we will proceed in the same way. Firstly, I will walk you through the questions. Firstly, I'll walk you through the definition. Then we will discuss some examples, and also I'll walk you through the pointers, the important pointer that will help you to answer the questions during your exam. Okay, so it will help you there. But before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic. Because for time being, we are just mainly focusing on what is dorsal or dorsal body cavity, right? But prior to that, you should know what is body cavity and the types of it. Okay. Alright, so let's get started, and just keep in this diagram in your mind. Like we have one dorsal cavity with two subtype, cranial and spinal. So we are focusing on that part only. Okay, so let's see. And one more thing for that, for the continuous session, what you can do, you can also refer the Texture Myth digital course book, which is freely available in the description box, and there you will find thousands of sessions available in both Hindi as well as English language. So without any language barrier, you can easily consume the content. And in case if you have any queries or questions related to that, you can simply reach out to me through the comment section. I would be more than happy to answer all your questions there. Okay, so I think we're good for now to start the session. So firstly, let's go through the definition. So in definition, you will find that here I have noted down the dorsal body cavity is located on the posterior, that is back side of the body. It is continuous. It is continuous cavity, meaning its two subdivisions are directly connected to each other without any separation. So this is very important point. Okay, because this is the important interview question also. Sometimes they will ask you like, what is the cavity which is continuous cavity? So you have to answer that it's a dorsal body cavity which is located on the posterior back side of the body, and it is continuous cavity because its subdivision are directly connected to each other without any kind of separation. Clear? So I think definition wise we are good. Now let's focus on the key characteristics of the dorsal cavity. Like what are the key characteristics? So first thing is, it is located on the posterior back side of the body, which is true. It is completely surrounded and protected by the bone, the skull and vertebral column. Okay, so it is protected always by the skull and vertebral column. Next is, it contains the most vital and delicate organ of the body, that is brain and spinal cord. So we all know that these are the two important body organs, right, which is brain and the spinal cord. Next is, it is continuous cavity, meaning its two subdivision flow directly into each other with no physical separation between them, right? So this is the one thing. The next is, it is smaller than ventral cavity. Okay, so if we compare according to the size, it is smaller than the ventral cavity. It is lined by the meninges, three protective membrane layer, and it also contains the cerebrospinal fluid, that is CSF, throughout its entire length. Clear? So I think now we also know the key characteristic of dorsal cavity or posterior cavity. Now the next thing is the subcategories, like how it is subcategorized. So we all know that subdivisions of the dorsal cavity, firstly is First is cranial cavity, which is located inside the skull cranium. Okay, it contains the brain. The walls of cranial cavity are formed by the bones of the skulls. The brain is protected by skull bones, which is outer protection. The meninges, 3 layers of protective membrane: dura mater, arachnoid mater, and pia mater. Next is cerebral spinal fluid, which is CSF, a fluid that cushions and protect the brain. So this is very important. Okay, it basically provides the cushion to protect the brain. Next is vertebral spinal cavity. Yes, this is the second part for the dorsal cavity. Okay, so second part we saw that in diagram, right? This is the second part, spinal cavity. Now see what definition we have noted down for it. So it is basically located inside the vertebral column. Spine contains the spinal cord formed by the vertebral foramen, each stacked vertebra together forming the vertebral canal. Okay, so the spinal cord is protected, like here you can see, protected by the vertebral bones, the outer protection, the meninges. These are the same layers, right, which we also have in the first category. And then we have cerebrospinal fluid continuous from the cranial cavity around the spinal cord. So you can say that cranial cavity and vertebral cavity are continuous with each other throughout the process. There is no separation between them. The meninges and CSF flow continuously from one into another. This is why the infections like meningitis can affect both the brain and the spinal cord simultaneously. So this is the issue, right? It's a kind of drawback. Like if this kind of infection occur, it can affect both brain and the spinal cord. Now let's quickly compare these things. Okay, so here you can see I have noted down 3 columns to differentiate between them. The first column contains feature, second is cranial cavity, and third one is vertebral cavity or spinal cavity. Location wise, it's inside the skull, it's inside the vertebral column. Its primary content is brain, its primary content is spinal cord. It is formed by 8 cranial bones, 33 stacked vertebra. Connection point is foramen magnum, which is superior. Here also protective bones, skull bone. Here we have vertebral pedicles and laminae body. Then we have meningeal dura arachnoid pia mater, and here also we have same continuous from the cranial cavity. Fluid is also same, cerebrospinal fluid, same as CSF. Key spaces: epidural, subdural, and subarachnoid. Epidural, subdural, subarachnoid. Subarachnoid space, that is CSF bleeds. Epidural space, that is anesthesia, steroid, and injection. This is regarding the important clinical space. Then special feature: ventricles, cauda equuma. Key clinical emergencies like raise in intracranial pressure, ISP, ICP, and cauda equuma syndrome. So these are the just a comparison for all the types and features, just to compare the vertebral and spinal cavity. Now we have learned so many things, right? So how we will recall it for a longer time? So for that you can refer this small trick or tip, which is just to remember this dorsal. So just dorsal is backside, right? So think of dolphins. On dolphin, like we have dorsal fin, right, on its back. So the dorsal fin of the dolphin is on its back, and the dorsal cavity is on the back of the body. So this is how you can relate it with the dolphin. So it protects the two most important nervous system structure, the brain and the spinal cord. For the two subdivision like cranial, skull, brain, vertebral, spine, spinal cord, and both are continuous, connected through foramen magnum. Clear? So yeah, that's all for today regarding the dorsal. I hope it is clear. And now I have one question for all of you, and today's question is, what are body cavities? because if you don't know the answer of this question, then maybe other session will be a bit difficult for you. So that's the reason like I put this question, and I'm sure like some of you already know the answer of this question. So please do share your knowledge in the comment section so that others can take a reference from it. But in case if you also don't know the answer, it's quite fine. Like you can refer the TechShareMet digital course book, or you can also refer the previous session. There we have already discussed it in a detailed way. So from there you can find out the actual meaning, and then you can share your knowledge in the comment section. Clear? So yeah, please do share your knowledge, because it will also instruct me that you guys are learning from these sessions, and accordingly I will publish more new sessions related to it. So that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching TechShareMet.